Okay, this is a video about scenario analysis. My friend Tony sent me an email. He said he bought the book. He said he bought my book. He said it was right next to the 50 Shades of Grey in the airport there. And he said, well, I didn't understand this thing about scenario outputs and linking the scenario outputs and inputs to the scenario sheet. So what I'm going to do is make another scenario analysis video here. And I have this model I've been using using for a case study. And what we'll do is make a scenario analysis. And this, so that's almost like maybe the first page in the whole thing. Okay, and now in the scenario analysis, we'll start with the very first thing. That's a simple code number, and then we'll make some base case. We'll make a company case this time. And then below the company case, we'll make a base case, a low case, and a worst case. I know I'm being pessimistic because I'm just a pessimistic person perhaps, but this is a credit analysis. This is really a credit analysis. Now the whole thing will work with a whole lot of index functions and a code number. If you get a link to my website, I mean the link to the whatever, let's do a link to the, just a minute, there's a wonderful video here. Video? No, not a video. Can't get the name straight. It's a file. I don't know if you've seen this file. You go to the scenario analysis and the scenario analysis. Whoops, this is in folder number 6. It says Banker's Life valuation with scenarios, and it's got this value of a lifetime, and you can put, a hedge fund trader or an investment banker, and it goes through all this thing like, hedge fund bubble bursting and all this stuff. It was made by Merrill Lynch, not me. Many successful kids dispose unsuccessful kids, all this stuff. And it says, well, if you are playing the field, that means if you're single, your value is this. And if you put a code number of 2 and you have a long-term commitment with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, your value goes way down. Marriage is a disaster. And then, of course, the last one is this, marriage plus affair. Best. Not best. This was the best. So that's code numbers. That's how you use code numbers in this analysis. Okay? You should find this file. Okay, now that's why we start with the code numbers, and then together with the code numbers we put a whole lot, we associate all of the assumptions in next to the code numbers, okay, and these are we kind of use double code number here, because all of these index codes will come from the various from the scenario page now. So maybe I'll make the scenario page green or something. This will be a green button. So as an example, we start with our planes grounded. Okay. And, please on these ones, just wrap the text, otherwise you get these long, stupid things. Why did that? Even that one. Stupid thing. Okay, and then you know, we go to the next assumption where we had something, and that was the price increase. And again, please wrap the text, and then we go to the next one, which was the flight expense per hour. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. We could also put the other revenues in. So we could put a forecast method of 3, and for this put let's put 30,000 in, or let's put 40,000, 50,000 for our company case, and then we'll put a different number in for the other cases. And then, so on the company case, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for the other revenues, maybe this is 50,000, and then maybe this is 40,000. Oops. And this is 30,000. And this is 30,000. Now, to illustrate how this works, we'll just, I'm going to put equal index. Notice how I left a few lines there, and that will be important. And then you just press the number 4. Okay, and then we do this, and then once we look at this, you can go view a new window that puts 2 things together, and then you can go view arrange all and put it as a vertical in Windows of Active Workbook, so we can see 2 of the things together. And then you just now when you do this, you got to be careful. This is the one you save. Close this one, not this one, because this keeps the you know, all the whatever, the freeze panes and all this. Now this number, instead of coming from just an input, will now come from this one. And when we go across here, this number will come from the index. Everything comes from the and I did it wrong, of course. This was the price increase. Okay, and we go up, and we get the price increase from here. Okay, we're not quite finished. Well, why don't I make this some kind of find the darkest green I can find. Which one do you think would be good? How about this one? I think this will be okay. Reason I'm doing this, so and then we press in this sheet, we can go to add-ins and press color sheet for tab color. So those new things we just pressed would be green. Okay, it's not a very clear green color, but I think you can see it. And then what we'll do after this is a series of sensitivity analyses. When we just want to make a planes grounded scenario. Now, instead of doing that, we'll use the transpose function. So this will be eventually planes grounded. And what we might do is just take the base case for each one. Well, for this one, maybe we'll take the worst case, or I'll have the low case, and then we'll take the base case for all the other ones. Okay, and then if we press now scenario number 3, 4, 5, this is our planes grounded scenarios, and that will transfer to this sheet. And finally, let's put a couple of other things here. Okay, and kind of the last scenario will be a custom scenario. And what we can do here is just to for now, we'll copy the base case. We'll do this with a macro eventually. And then when we copy the base case, we can go to the developer tab and put a little tiny drop-down box right next to it. Okay, and this one, ooh, I want to make it even thinner. Can I make it even thinner? We'll eventually have to copy this across. We can right-click and go to Format Control. This time, since it's in a different sheet, you can just go directly to the other sheet, and you won't have to, it'll put the sheet name in there. We can put, for the planes grounded, our different things in this one, and then we can put, I suppose, go to this sheet, back to this sheet, and just click on this one. Be careful, just click on this one. So where my thing went, oh, there it is, and we press OK, and then it gives 0. Don't, of course, worry about that. We can put our different cases in. I don't know. Perhaps it would have been better to put this just below here, make it a tiny bit wider. Okay, and then we can essentially copy this to here. Now, we're going to have a whole bunch of other cases when you copy it, of course. Right-click, not of course. Why I say of course, it must be sometimes irritating if you ever get through a video. I'm not sure anybody will watch this one. Okay, so if we press this last scenario right now, 5, 6, 7, 8, this is scenario number 8, we can, whoops, maybe it's 7, I can't count. It's 9, I guess it's 9. Then we can just take these ones and, you know, manage our own little scenario. Okay, and when you do all these scenarios, you probably should, you know, be a little gimmicky and put the scenario thing here, which we right click and we go to Format Control, we go to New Sheet, back to our original sheet, select everything all the way down, and what happened here? Oh, shoot. Maybe I didn't click on this. Should have. Oh, jeez. What an idiot I am. Now, click on this one. Why? Hang on. Okay, I'm going to turn it off and do this, but anyway. I guess that doesn't work in different. I guess we have to do it like this. Okay. I'll try one more time. So we go to another sheet, back to this sheet, and just select all the scenarios, okay? And that illustrates basically how to get the whole thing started. Now, I haven't answered Tony's question yet. And what I'm going to do is save the file and just kind of fill in our whole sheet, all the rest of the assumptions. And I'm not going to have you watch this incredibly boring, repetitive thing where I just put different code numbers in and copy the little things here and all that stuff. Okay, so I need to pause the video. Okay, I'm back after a long break here. Now, I continued on this custom scenario, which is a real pain if you, perhaps I wish I could come up with a better way. And the real problem is, you know, if you, great, okay, let me put it on the custom scenario. Okay, and I didn't have to, and the very first thing I did wrong. So this, okay, so that's good. It's good I had a problem here. So what you have to do is make, when you have something where you have a small percentage or a big number, you're going to have to take the case you copied, divide it, and then make a special number down here that you can use for the spinner box, or and I did the same thing here. So in this case we divided it by 1,000. In this case with the bad debt expense, I put a 0.001 to multiply it, and then this was a different multiplier. And for the other ones, did the same thing. So when you change this to the company case, it changes that to 1. And just a minute, this custom. I suppose. Oh shit. This should be this number divided by the multiplier. So I did it wrong, and let's oh, come on. OES. Oh, come on. Control C. OES. And let's just copy the formulas so we don't mess up our formula. Oh, shit. Why did that? I thought I copied. Okay. And I guess I was wrong because, oh no. No. Okay, this is a continuation of the sensitivity scenario video. Okay, so what I did was just used our old transpose function, and we this time I'm going to we can make a comparison. So let's compare the company case to the low case. How's that? Or I want to compare the base case to the low case, or something like that. And we could even, if we want to get a little fancier, put an index. Whoops, I can't seem to hit the tab key. And then we put all of these cases. Whoops. Index again. Okay. And then we can say base case, low case versus base case. So we just put an and sign, and we'll put the low case first. Versus base case. Okay. To F2. Okay. Okay. And we have a long title. Okay. And now it's going to be a little bit trickier, because we'll say if the top here. Oh, interesting. I didn't need the. So if I want the company case versus the low case, I put this. Okay. And we'll say if it's this number equals this number, then we'll use the low case. So I put offset, and we can start with this one, and then we're going to go, this is, and then for the rows we'll go down 3 rows, but it's really, this would be 0, 1, 2, so we have to press F4 minus 1, and let's keep it on the column. But if it's not, we'll put offset, and we'll keep it on the this case, but press. So I need this one, and let's put it. The rows this time would be this one, 4 minus 1, comma 0. So this is the low case. Now let's Control R, I guess. And come on. Control D. Come on. Well, I waste so much time. Why I don't put a little shortcut to do this, and then now I even got a wrong format on this. Because this one is easier, we just press Shift Control P, Shift Control P. Okay, why? What in the hell? What a ridiculous thing. Okay, so, and what was the problem with this one? Okay, well, I'll fix that in a minute. I'm not going to have you waste this. So if now we can compare all the cases we want. So this one has all our long descriptions in, and by using the offset function we can make it very flexible. And then the big thing is that we can copy this one to the output graph. And apparently I didn't do that. Let's get rid of, let's save the, I didn't have to save it, by the way. Let's get rid of this one and make this one bigger, because we want to keep the things. Okay, and let me try that again. So the real thing here is to put on the output graph as well as the assumptions graph, I suppose. Okay. Now if we press the company case, we have very little new debt required. But if we even just go to the base case, we can eventually pay off the debt, but it's just not good enough. And if we look at the balance of new debt, we need more and more new debt. So that's just a case that really won't work. So the company case works, but as soon as we go to the base case, it doesn't work. And if we go to the low case, it's really bad, clearly doesn't work. In the worst case, even worse. So we need to then perhaps look at which case. Let's start with the company case. Okay, and compare that. Okay, we'll compare it to the low case, and we can kind of go one assumption by one assumption. So now we have low case versus company case. And the planes grounded, that wasn't the biggest assumption. The price increase, well, that hurt other revenues a little bit. Fuel expense, flight expense rather, maintenance expense. It's kind of, all of these things don't hurt at the same time, but when you start putting them together, they really hurt. Okay? And all right, I don't know what much to say about this. It illustrates that, you know, to make these kind of assumptions and be totally careful about them. Now, let's finally answer my friend Tony's assumption. And he said, well, what do you do when you want to put the outputs next to this? So the first thing we could do is we could say, okay, well, I don't care about all these inputs. I don't want to really see them all. So we can put a plus and a minus. And then to make this, let's do two things. The first thing is we'd make a simple table. Whoops, we just put 1 here. Shift Control 1. And uh-oh, I'll fix that horrible custom case in a minute. Okay, I've obviously done something wrong with this. Okay, now we can choose to pick all sorts of different variables. I think if we're looking at credit analysis, let's go to the output graph and decide which would we like, the balance of the new debt or the new debt required. I think I'm going to get the balance of the new debt, and let's get it in each year. So we can look at them all together. Now, if we go back to the scenario analysis, we put new debt, let's put 1998. Should really be more current with my examples. Okay. Okay, and let's just, no, come on. Now, I'm going to move it up a little. I'll put a +1. Okay. Actually, instead of moving it up, let's do it like this. Let's put a, let's go and wrap the text. Okay. Does the centering work here? Kind of. Okay. And then we can, I think we went out to 2005. Oh, very current too. Now, what you do is if you want a regular old data table, you just put an equal sign and go to the financial model and get the assumption, the thing you really want, which I think we can go into our financing section. Better yet, let's go into our output section. I suppose we could get even fancier. And let's just put the, let's just take this. And then we can put, you know what I did? I did something really bad. Okay, I lost our drop-down box, but we can take all of these outputs, make a nice little drop-down box around it, Okay, format control, of course, and we're going to then make it very, oops, wrong one, back to this one. Okay, remember we have to use this. That's why sometimes it's really nice to put these little things that's gonna be in your developer tab in your drop-down box. Just put it in one single uh, column. Okay, and then let's just do the same thing, index. So we just are getting overdosed on the index function here, and we put a comma, and we go back to this one, and instead of just putting new debt here, we put yes, I know my stupid phone's like, stop it, god darn it. Now I just dropped my new disc and everything because the stupid phone thing is just driving me crazy. I don't have psychological problems. I don't have anger management problems. Don't say just because you worked on a financial model all your life doesn't mean you have anger management psychological problems, you know. Okay, and now we can do this. Now we can be happy. Um, we go back to this one and copy. Now we can copy our little spinner box and put it into the scenario analysis, and we can get kind of any of the outputs we'd like. Isn't that kind of cool? Never done it like that before. So then we'll just copy it forward. Whoops. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, that's good. So that in this case it went to 0. Okay, and then if we put it in lowercase, we have the debt going up. Okay, and let's just now we make one of these data tables, and I'm sure I'm going to start moaning about this one because Alt D T, and we leave the row input blank, and for the column input you just put the scenario number, which is where we started this whole thing, and then we can do the whole thing. But you know and we can see, well, which variable caused us to have this. I suppose we could even put a if error. Let's just put a comma. Why don't we put a false here? Uh-oh. Oh my gosh, what happened here? I don't want it to be that wide. Why did it get so wide? Okay. Okay. Now, I suppose we, oh, maybe this is the custom case, made us go crazy. Okay, I think I'm gonna, well, no, I won't stop quite there. I'm sure most people will have stopped watching by now, but it is kind of cool, isn't it, that you can just do all of this, and the data table wasn't being that disastrous. If we wanted to make instead of using the data table, we could use we could make a quick macro, and we put the column. I'll start this over here. The call input. So that's the column for this. Okay. Row output. It's this row. Okay. And I should have said row input. And we can put start column. That's going to be the start row, sorry. That's going to be the row of this one. And we can put end row. And that's the row of, I guess this is row, okay? And I think that's about it. I'm sure and we need a code number. We need a range name on the code number. So we can just put this code. Okay. Now, I suppose I have a new philosophy about this, and that is that if you define all these rows and column numbers first, Shift Control F3 to get them, you know, then so I'm going to put all these out, and we're just going to make a little, let's attach it to here. We'll just make a macro, and in this macro, okay, we'll just we'll start with for row equal range, and you've got to remember what you named these things. So I said row, start row to end row, to range row, and then we need a next row sometime. Now I should have put the start column and the end column. I know I forgot to do something. So let's put okay. So this method, but of putting all the things here, I think it will make the whole thing flexible. Shift Control F3 again. I just have to do the same thing. Okay, and we just go to the end. Okay, come on. Okay. For column equal range start column. I hope it kind of documents now. As soon as you get this, you've kind of got the whole thing done, because that's all a data table really is some kind of for next loop, if you. That's one way to look at it. And then as we're going around each column, so as I said that, I'm changing this because let's go across the columns first. I think we'll do it like this. Now the big thing we want to do is put a range and then we put code equals, and then we go to cells and we put the range, the row here first. We're going down, and then we put range of, and what did we call this thing? We called the column input. Okay, and then I have another thing, and then we need the output, and that's just cells row comma column equals, and we put cells And then we have to put that first row in there. So this is the row input. Column input. Yeah, the column, and that was row 9. So we put range. I called it row input. It should have been there was something like row output, but that's okay. Okay, and then we put column. Okay. Oops. Did I already have that number? And I think we're finished. So now if we, I'm doing something ridiculous. Now if now the first thing you should do is save the file. And if we put return on equity, it didn't quite work because I did something wrong. That's good. I saved the file, but you can see it got close. We should have, what did I do wrong? So let's not say, let's go back and get let's go back and get the file. Okay. And okay. Range code. We're going down different rows. Well, I'm gonna pause for a minute. Well, this is kind of embarrassing. I think it did actually work for once. I just didn't think it would work. So you can put all of these things in and get all of the data for the different scenarios. Okay, and that's going to be the end of this scenario analysis. Okay, and I'm debating whether I'll make a tornado diagram out of this. All right, goodbye.